have Dr. Haitham from the University of Jordan and Dr. Galakova. Dr. Haitham is an academic, he's a composer, he's somebody who's revolutionizing Jordanian music, it's fair to say that, by integrating Makamat, so Oriental and Arabic scales, modes with Western music.
Yes.
He's going to talk about that today, so it's not really a music education topic per se, but very interesting I think for you anyway. And then we're going to move sharply afterwards into Dr. Galkova's presentation, which is about teaching Western music in Jordan, which is a fascinating topic. Amazing to think that that's happening, and sort of thinking about the cultural angle. We have a sort of session coming up about globalization and multiculturalism and all these sort of issues, so it's very, very relevant. So I shall say no more, and I will hand you over, but thank you very much for coming, and a warm welcome.
Thank you. First of all, excuse my poor language. Okay? I graduated from Egypt, not from London, not from USA, so I can manage myself. I'm good in English, not very good, so please excuse me. My name is Haitham Sukkarieh. I'm the Vice Dean of Faculty of Arts and Design in the University of Jordan. I am a composer. I wrote around 14 musical works for orchestra, and I combined the Western music with Oriental modes or Makamat, which I will explain about all of original Makamat in Oriental music. And this is not a lecture, this is a workshop, because I want you to share me and sing all the modes one by one. Okay with this? Okay. As you know, Western music based on two main scales, the major and minor scale, whose interval is one step, 1.5 step, and half step. But the Oriental scales or modes, we call it Makamat. The letter Qa, we can say Qa, you can say Ka, because letter Qa is difficult for you. Makamat, the original letter, Makamat, which is interval include the 1 step, half step, 1.5 step, and the 3/4 step, the unique interval in Oriental music. The Oriental Makamat, or modes, divided to two main groups. The first one, which is free from 3/4 step. The second group, which is include the 3/4 step. Now I will talk about the Makamat, which is free from 1/4 step. This Makamat is similar to major and minor scale in terms of intervals and the key signature. But it's completely different with the tonic, the same key signature, but with with different tonic, and with the sense of this Maqam, which gives us that characteristic of Oriental, how to use this Maqam. They share the same key signature, but and there's a variety of terms by highering or lowering some degrees on the maqam or in the scale. The Oriental maqams or maqamat based on the tetrachord. You know the tetrachord? It's four tunes. But in Arabic music or Oriental music, it's not necessary to be perfect fourth. Sometimes the maqam starts from the first degree, the tonic, to the subdominant, to the fourth degree, but the distance or the intervals, maybe it's augmented. In this case, the tetrachord stopped on the fifth degree, not on the fourth degree, because we can't stop on the augmented fourth degree. So when the tetrachord stopped on the fifth degree, we called it aqd. Or so the letter aqd, you can say aqd. Look like this. When the tetrachord, five notes, not 4 notes. The Oriental maqamat, sometimes the name changed if the tonic changed. And this is a very complex matter, and it's not useful and not necessary. Why? Because the interval is the same interval. In Western music, major scale. In C, D, E, G flat, A flat, whatever, it's major scale or minor scale. In Oriental, it's different. We have maqam on C. If the same maqam in another degree, the name changed. And it's not necessary, and it's complex, and I will not mention variety of names. I will explain all the original maqamat, Oriental maqamat, on the original degrees without mentioning to any names. First of all, now I will start with maqamat. First maqam called maqam ajam. Also the letter a, ajam, you can say ajam. It's completely similar to major scale, as you know, the major scale. Start from C to C, and we have the whole step, half step, etc. And we have tetrachord here on C. We call it jins. Tetrachord means jins in Oriental music. Jins ajam on C, and another jins ajam on G. So it's completely the major scale, completely, but called ajam. But as I told you, the sense how to use this scale. I will play all the maqamat now. The ajam, or the major scale, if the Western music, something like this in Western, but in Oriental, completely different. How to use this maqam. It's Oriental, the same interval, but it's since Oriental. The characteristic is Oriental, not Western, okay? You feel the Oriental style here? Okay. The second one called Nahawand. It's completely similar to the harmonic minor scale. The same interval, whole step, whole, half, 1.5 step. This is very important. This interval is very important in Oriental music. 1.5 step, then half step. So it's the same, jins Nahawand on C, we call it tetrachord, mean jins. Jins Nahawand on C and jins Nahawand on G. And there is one interval here separated these two jinses. So it's Nahawand. The same harmonic minor. The third one called chord. The chord is similar to natural minor, but the tonic is the dominant. Start from the dominant. So we got jins called chord, and the main jins. This is the main jins. This is the sub-jins. In Oriental maqamat, we have the main jins here and the sub-jins. The main jins called chord, the same name of the maqam. The maqam called chord, the main jins called chord. So we have chord on D, the half step. This is very unique, and it's similar or it's equal to Phrygian, the mood Phrygian. So we have half step, etc. So we have this tetrachord or jins called chord, and we have another chord on A, and start from D. This is D. This is the original degree for the chord, but we can transpose it on another degrees, but we have another name. So I will not mention all the names. So this is the chord. The minor second. Very unique in Oriental music. This is the minor second. Okay. Now, this is very special maqam in Oriental music and very common. It's called Hijaz. In Hijaz, we have 1.5 step one time here, or it looks like the chord, but by hiring the third degree. If we make compare between them, this is chord, the same, but look here, F natural, here F sharp, but the other is the same. Just we got here the 1.5 step. It's called Hijaz, and it looks like the minor harmonic, but start from the dominant. So if we start from the G to G, it's harmonic minor. But if we start from the dominant D, it's Hijaz. So from here, this is Re, Mi, Fa. Here, Fa. But the chord here, look, the difference between them. Re, mi, fa, re, mi, fa. You see the difference between them? Can we sing it together? Re, this is re. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re. Re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re. So, fa, mi, re. Yes, but here the chord, Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re. Re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Yeah, you feel the difference between them. Okay. Shahnaz, it's similar to Hijaz, but by hiring the 7th degree here. It's C sharp instead of C natural, so we get the 1.5 step twice between the 2nd degree and 3rd, and between the 6th degree and the 7th. If you make comparative for them, this is the Hijaz. Look, the same, but here C natural, here C sharp. So re, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re. I want to say something when I want to play for to any maqam improvisation. It's not something prepared. It's called in Oriental music taqasim. Taqasim, it's a name for improvisation. So this is improvisation, not any piece or not prepared, okay? This instrument called kawala. It looks like the flute, but it's from wood and it's have holes. Yeah. The other one called other chord. The other chord looks like the chord, but the original degree from G. But the difference by hiring the 4th degree to become here augmented 4th. So the tetrachord will not stop at the 4th degree because it's augmented. The tetrachord will stop where? To the 5th degree. Then we call it aqd, not jins. Okay, jins means tetrachord. Aqd also means tetrachord, but if it's 5th note, it's not 4th note. So it's not chord, it's by hiring the 4th degree and by hiring the 7th degree. So we get the 1.5 step twice between the 3rd degree and 4th degree, the augmented, and between the 7th, major 7th, and the octave. From G, sol for you, sol for sol, okay? Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, sol, sol, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol. Very unique, okay? Sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol. It's very unique, okay? From G, the original degree for this maqam is on G, okay? Okay? Yeah. The other one is Nawa Athar. Nawa Athar from C. Nawa Athar is completely equal to double harmonic minor. You know double harmonic minor by hiring the 7th degree, this is the leading note for the scale, and by hiring the 4th degree to become augmented 4th, not perfect 4th. So the jins or the tetrachord will stop at the 5th degree. Looks like the previous one. So this is the C. Do. All of you, please, all of you. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. No. Do again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, A flat. La, si, do, maqam, you know it's double harmonic minor. Nakriz, it looked like the previous one, the Nawa Athar, but by hiring the 6th degree to become major 6, not minor 6. The same, but here major 6. When we hired it, we got here the jins Nahawan, not jins Hijaz. Make comparative with them. This is the Nawa Athar, the same, but look here we have A flat, here A natural. Here the subgens is Hijaz, here the subgens is Nahawan. But look like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay? Good? Zanjaran. This maqam, similar to Hijaz, the same 1/2 step here and major third, but by hiring the 6th degree here. By hiring the 6th degree, we got jins Ajam on G. This is here Ajam, look like major scale here, this part. So it's jins Hijaz, look like Hijaz, the main jins, but the sub jins is Ajam. Okay? This is re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, B natural. Re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re. Again. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re. Okay. Okay. Now Hijazain. The word Hijazain in Arabic is the duo of Hijaz. Hijaz 1, Hijazain 2, Hijaz. That's why it's called Hijazain. Because we have jins Hijaz on D and jins Hijaz on G without separating these jinses together. So it's called Hijazain. Look like the Hijaz, but by lowering the 6th degree to become diminished 6 here, D to A flat, and by by lowering the 5th degree to become diminished 5th, and by hiring the 6th degree to become major 6. So we have 2 jins Hijaz on D and on G. This is D. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi. Difficult for you, I know that. Again. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, A flat. La, si, do, re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re. We have Hijaz here on D and Hijaz on G. You see? Okay? Good. Now, Saba Zamzama. This unique maqam is not similar to any of them mentioned maqamat before. Why? For many reasons. First of all, we have here the diminished 4th, okay, from D to G flat. This is first of all. Second, we have overlapping jinses. We have the first jins, the main jins on D, the second jins from F. Before finish the main jins, start the subjins here. The other reason, you see, from D to D flat, the octave is diminished, okay, diminished 8. And if the musician or the melody, any music, play octave higher, he play here the E natural, not E flat. If you want to play over the D flat, we can't stop on the diminished octave. So if you want to continue, you will play here the E flat. It's major ninth, not minor second or minor ninth. Okay, we can't play here D flat and E flat. Okay, so if you play D flat, you will play E natural. And if you want to continue to F, we got here Jins Hijaz on D. So this is very unique maqam, not similar to any of the mentioned maqamat. We have maqam have 3 jinses, and we have here 1.5 step 1, and we have the diminished fourth here, and we have overlapping the jinses. So this is the. I think it's difficult a little bit. Okay, but you can try. You can try as an interval, not a maqam, as an interval. Okay. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. No. Re. Listen to me first. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re. Re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. If I want to continue. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Huh?
Okay.
Re, now, yeah. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. You want to continue? Yeah. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la. Alone. Okay, it's very unique maqam, okay, and very common maqam, and they consider it is a sad, for sadness, okay. Or I will put the kawala because it's a very sad instrument because compatible with this maqam. Sorry, kawala not qanun. Sorry. Okay, this one. Very sad. D flat, E flat, to F, you feel that it's very sad maqam, huh? Yeah. The other one, the Saba Bosali. The same, it's the same, but just one note change. Look, this is the Saba, this is the Saba Bosali. Here we have the minor second. Here we have major second. That's all. The same idea, the same overlapping, the same diminished fourth, the same, all the same, but we have here major second instead of minor second. This is the mi, fa, look like the minor. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, fa, mi, re. Mi, it's natural, huh? This is the difference. It's not very common, but it's upcoming. Okay, it's not very common, but it. Shok Afza, the last one of the first group, which Makamat is free from 3/4 step. This is the last one. It looks like the harmonic major. It starts from major, then by lowering the 6th degree. So we got the 1.5 step between the 6th and the 7th degree. So it's the harmonic major. Okay. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Now, the above mentioned maqamat can easily have harmonic chords with several options, look like the major and minor scale. But the progression of the chords give us the characteristic of the Oriental. It's not like the classic. As an example, if we have the Hijaz as an example, or Shahnaz, the progression of the chords give us the sense of the Oriental, but the same progression, the same theory of the harmony, as you know. Okay, yeah. So tonic, subdominant, dominant, the same idea, and the seventh, etc., etc. But the progression gives us. Okay, you see that, and we got here why? For many reasons. First of all, when I make progression, or any musician make progression on these maqamat, we got progression for augmented intervals and diminished intervals and diminished third, which is not found in major and minor scale. You know, this interval, C sharp, E flat, is diminished third. So this interval we can't find it in major and minor scale, just in one case. Who knows? Who knows which case? With Napolitan. The chord Napolitan, if you know chord Napolitan, Napolitan 6. In Napolitan, we got the diminished third. When you play Napolitan, Beethoven, Moonlight, something. Okay, there is diminished third in major scale. But in Oriental Maqamat, there is a lot of these intervals, the diminished third, the augmented fourth, augmented fifth, etc. So we got progression, give us the sense of Oriental. The second group which include the three-quarter step. The three-quarter step is very unique in Oriental Maqamat or Oriental music, and it can't be played but by the Oriental instruments. Woodwinds can't play this, brasses can't play this, it's very difficult. But we Oriental instruments can play this interval, and I think it's difficult for you to sing it, but I will play it and sing it with you, and you will try. We can apply this this three-quarter step by lowering or hiring just quarter, not flat, semi-flat. This is symbolized by like this. This is flat by backslash like this. It's a quarter step down. These two shapes by make backslash or by flip it to the left. And if you want to higher the note, just quarter step in this shape, not sharp, just one vertical line. Huh? Yeah. This Oriental composed in the basic maqam and the sub-maqam. The basic, that's why we have a lot of maqams sharing the same key signature and sharing the tonic, but different by what? By the sub-maqam in another degree. And this degree often be the 5th degree or the 4th degree, often, but sometimes in the 3rd degree and the 2nd degree. Okay, so that's why we have a lot of maqamat. The first one. Now in the keyboard, you know, the fretless instrument look like violin. The musician can make it by finger. By the keyboard, this is for especially for Oriental. As you know, we have here 12 bottoms that scale, full scale. So if I want to lowering or hiring any note, just quarter, I just press to it. This is E, this is A, this is B, etc. Just like this. So this is the first one. This is the rust. This is the most important maqam, which include the three-quarter step in Oriental music. This maqam, if you think about major scale in C, okay, then think that we lowering the 3rd degree just quarter, not flat, quarter flat. So when we lowering it just quarter, we got the 3 quarters now from the 2nd and 3rd degree, and from the 3rd degree and 4th degree. You get that? If you get this, you will get the other. We have the major scale, E flat, E natural. This is not E natural, this is E quarter, because we have here a key signature, okay? This is a quarter flat. So we got the 3/4 step between the 2nd degree and 3rd degree, and between the 3rd degree and 4th degree. And by lowering also the 7th degree, because we have B and E quarter flat. So we have here by the 6th degree and 7th degree, and between the 7th degree and the octave. And sometimes if the musician play and a decreasing melody, he used the B flat instead of B quarter flat. Between them, he played sometime B quarter, sometime B flat. Okay, so this scale is maybe it's difficult for you, but we'll try to play it together. Now, look, this is the C major. This is E. If it's minor, this is E flat, but not. Something different, okay? This is E quarter, lowering it to just a quarter tune. So it's, and this is B, but okay. So that okay, I will. You want to try to sing it? Do. It's difficult for you, I know. Do re mi na mi mi. Nobody. Okay, try it again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. When you decreasing, play this. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. This is Rust, and I will try to play with an instrument called kanun. Look like koto, the Japanese. Problem with the left speaker. The second one, this is the Rust. The Rust is the main, the basic maqam. Now there is 5 maqamat, is sub maqam or a branch from this maqam. Okay, sharing the first, the main gens, and sharing the key signature, but by changing the other, the sub gens. Okay, the five maqamat now. So snap, the same key signature, the same tonic, the same main gens, but here by lowering the 6th degree, okay, to become minor 6, and by highering the 7th degree to become major. So we got here Hijaz on G. So the same idea from D. So like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, fa, mi, re, do. I know it's a little bit difficult. Okay. The same idea. So's the lar, the same key signature, the same tonic, the same main gens, but here by lowering the 7th degree to become minor 7th instead of neutral 7th. It was a neutral, by the way, not major. You know, neutral interval? It was a neutral interval. Now it's here minor. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay? Yes. The other one is Nairas. The same idea, it's a branch of the Rust, the same key signature, same tonic, same main gens, but here by lowering the 6th degree, just quarter tune. And lowering the 7th degree to become minor. So we got here gens called bayat. Here we have jins called bayat. So we have the 3/4 tunes 4 times here. From second to third, 34th as the main maqam, and here from between 5th and 6th, 6th and 7th. It's a little bit complex. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, you got the idea? Okay. Bashair, the same idea because it's a branch of Rast, the main maqam, the same key signature, the same tonic, the same jins on Rast on C, but here by lowering the 6th degree to become minor and lowering the 7th degree to be minor also. So we got the chord, jins chord here on G. Okay, look like Phrygian. This part look like the start of Phrygian tetrachord. Okay, start from Phrygian. Half, then one step. Okay, and this is the main jins, the same. Do. This is easy for you here. Yeah, yeah. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay? Mahur, the same idea, because it's a branch from the main maqam Rast, the same key signature, same tonic, same main jins, but here by hiring the 7th degree to become major degree. So we got here tetrachord look like major scale. Yeah? One step, half step. Yeah. The tetrachord look like the major scale here. So the same here, but different here look like the major. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, the same here look like. Okay. Now another main maqam. The rest finished now. The main rast and the branches finished now. Now a new maqam called bayat. This bayat, the interval here we have the 3/4 twice between the 1st and 2nd degree and between the 2nd degree and the 3rd degree. The other intervals look like the minor scale. Look like the minor scale on D, the natural. Okay? So we have jins bayati on D. This interval is called bayat. 3/4 whole step. This is called bayat, tetrachord. So we have bayat on D, and we have chord look like Phrygian. Chord look like Phrygian on A. Okay? From D. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, fa, mi, re. Look, it's natural. Sol, fa, mi, re. It's natural. Sol, fa, mi, bemol, re, but sol, fa, mi. It's a quarter. This is different between the three tuning here. Musician, when if he want to play here, he make variation between the B quarter flat and the B flat here. So, look like this. If you want to play bayati, I want to change the instrument. B flat. This is B flat. B quarter flat. Then B flat. So musician make variation between B quarter flat and B flat when they play the bayat. Now the branches of bayat. It's called shuri, the same key signature of bayat, the same main jins bayat on D, the same tonic, but by lowering the 5th degree to become diminished here, D to A flat, and by hiring the 6th degree to become major 6. So this part, we have 1.5 step one time. This, if you memorize now, it's jins Hijaz. if you remember the Hijaz, it's half step, 1.5 step, and half step. This is Hijaz. So we have the Bayati, then Hijaz. This is easy for you here, okay? Yeah. This is Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Okay? We have now Bayatin. The name Bayatin looks like the Hijazin. When I explain the Hijazin, it's in Arabic the duo of Bayat. Bayat, Bayatin. Bayatin, that means the duo. Why? Because we got the jins Bayat twice here. So we have Bayati on D and Bayati on G. The same idea by lowering the 6. And so we got 2 Bayats here. I want to get faster. So, Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Okay, we have Bayat here. It's difficult for you, I know that. Saba. Saba is very, very unique maqam in Oriental music. I explained the Saba Zamzama and Saba Busalik. In Makamat, which is free from 3/4 step. This is the original maqam, and those was the branches. But I explained them because they are free from the first group, free from 3/4 step. This is we have 3/4 step, but this is the main. So we have jins Saba, and the same idea. We have diminished fourth, if you remember, and we have the overlapping jinses here, and we have the diminished octave. And if we play more octave, we play the major ninth, etc. So this is the maqam. Re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re. If I want to play octave higher, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, si, la, so, fa, mi, re. You got that? Okay. I will not take your time. Maqam Sika. This maqam is very unique. Why? For one reason. You notice that the tonic is lowered now. The tonic is lowered. The maqam starts from the lowered note. Okay? The E here, not natural, not flat. It's quarter flat. Okay? Then, so we have this jins from E. Quarter to A, we got jins Sika, the same name for maqam, the same name for the main jins. We have jins Sika on E, not flat, half flat, the quarter flat. So, and we have here rust, here, rust, the previous one, from G. And there is overlapping here. This is the tonic, the lower note, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi. Very difficult for you because the tonic is lower note. Yeah, I know that. Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi. Okay. Now this is the main maqam. And we have sub-maqam here called Huzam. The same Huzam, the same idea, but by lowering the 4th degree and highering the 5th degree. So we got here Hijaz instead of rust. But the same idea. Mi, fa, sol, la. Here, this is different. Mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, re, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi. Calls Huzam. That's all. That's all the Oriental Maqamat. Now, 3 years ago, I thought, can any musician think and invent a new maqam? Because the Oriental Maqamat based on the combination of jinses, tetrachords. Yeah. And we learned that this is all the maqamat. Can anybody think to improve a new maqam by playing with jinses here and there, I make a test for this and I invent a new maqam and I registered it on the National Library and I called it chord Sukkarieh. Sukkarieh is my family name. Why chord? Because the basic or the main jins is chord. And I played with the subjinses, okay? So I got a new maqam and registered by my name called chord Sukkarieh, my family name. This maqam is a little bit complex, look like Saba and look like other, because it starts from note and end from the augmented octave. And if we want to play the ninth, we play it major ninth instead of minor ninth. So, most of you musicians ask me and I ask myself, this is real maqam or just look like mathematics? I play with the tetrachords. Is it real maqam? Is it useful for musician or not? What is the judge for this? So I composed music on my own maqam to improve that this is useful maqam and we can use it. So I want you to listen to this piece. It's around 2 minutes. Here. I start with violin and piano. I play the piano. Then just strings. And I play this maqam in my style. Oriental modes by composers use in two styles. The first style, they compose music for Oriental instruments as ensemble and include the instrument oud or lute, you know lute,
Yeah.
oud, and the qanun, and the nai. More than one because if, just one can't play all the scales and the octaves. So any musician hold a case have a lot of nais. Percussion, this percussion called riq or daf. So sometimes they use also the violin, cello, and the bell bass because you know this is fretless and Arabic musician can play the 3/4 tune on violin if he study this. And sometimes they used guitar, keyboard as an electric instruments. This style of music is monophonic, just single melody, main melody. We can consider it monophonic, polyphonic, or homophonic. Why? Because sometimes the composer make contra melodies, okay, contra melodies, but it's very limited and called in Arabic lizam. Here, okay. Here, called lizam. This is a passage, look like passage, look like some technique, but we can't consider this is a polyphonic style. This is monophonic. And if there is a band from 60 musicians or well, any numbers, okay, even they are playing the monophonic style because they play the same melody but in different octaves, okay? This is the first style. The second style for orchestra, for the classic orchestra. In this style, composer almost use the Makamat, which is free from 3/4 step. Why? Because it's easy to harmonize and easy to play with woodwinds and brasses and the classic orchestra. So composer almost use the Makamat, which is free from 3/4 step. But there is a lot of pieces or a lot of musicians uses sometimes the Makamat, which is include the 3/4 step. In this case, a musician use any Oriental instrument with the orchestra. Orchestra classic with nai, with oud, with any Oriental to play this 3/4 step. And almost in this style, the musician uses the folk songs as an idea to make their musician, as a kind of the nationalism, as you know. And in this sphere, two contradictory trends have appeared. Group consider this matter is not good because the traditional songs look like the diamond. You don't have the right to change the scales, to change the kind. Don't play with any folk songs. Leave it as it. Don't play with it. This is the first group. The second group consider that this is why not? You can take the folk songs and make variation and change the scale. If it has the 3/4 step, change it to half or 1.5. Make anything as you want. Look like Beethoven, Mozart. They make variations about any theme and make it sometime major, sometime minor. Why not? So the same idea. So you can take the folk song and change the scale. There is no problem with this. Personally, I am with the second group because I composed more than 5 symphonic poems and I used around 20 Jordanian folk songs for the orchestra. Some of these folk songs I changed the maqam to major and minor to play it with the orchestra. Some of these folk songs I leave it with the main maqam with the 3/4 step, and I let somebody to play nai or oud or any Oriental instrument. And my PhD thesis was the use of Jordanian folk melodies as structural ideas in composing symphonic poems. So this is my style as the second group, not the first group. Finally, the most important composers in Middle East who compose for orchestra, Oriental music with Western music and combine them together and use the 3/4 step and all of the Oriental Makamat with the orchestra, they are the most important in the Middle East. We have in Egyptians composers, Yusuf Jirias, Ahmed Obeid, Aziz Al-Shawan. Aziz Al-Shawan, he was my teacher. And he was the student of Khachidrian, Aram Khachidrian. He passed away in 1993. Kamil Al-Rimali, Rifat Garana, Abu Bakr Khayrat, he was engineering and he built the conservatory in Egypt. Jamal Abdul Rahim. Jordanian composers, we have Yusuf Khasho, the first composer in Jordan who composed for orchestra. He was Jordanian, but he lived in Italy, and he composed around 14 symphony. Then he came back to Jordan, and Abdul Hamid Hammam, Muhammad Siddiq, Amir Madi, and me. Okay. Kuwaiti composers, I'm talking about the most famous, not maybe there's a lot, I don't know them. Rashid Bougheli, Suleiman Al-Digan, Amir Jafar. Lebanon composers, Salim Sahab, Walid Ghulmiya, and Halim Al-Rumi. And thank you so much.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. Would you like to do a few questions now, or do you want to leave it
After Dr. Amina.